This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
Here I am. Hi. Click this button to make yourself appear on the screen. Hey, happy Travel Tuesday, everybody. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for being here. Just talking to Mark after the show about travels and how everyone's getting where they're going and safely how we're going to do the show tomorrow on remote location from San Francisco. So kind of exciting to have Mark Thompson here in the Bay Area for the San Francisco Fall Show. And I think I might go down there and check it out. It's one of those things where you can walk around and see the same scenery, or you can walk around and look at interesting things. We have it in my town in Petaluma. It's something called the Petaluma Antique Fair, where they close down a few streets and everyone, it's kind of like it's almost in some parts like a yard sale, but in other parts they have vendors that have antiques or things they've crafted, and just even walking around and looking at all the interesting things just kind of change the scenery a little bit. And that's kind of what I think the San Francisco Fall Show could be for some people as well. Just a place to walk around and see really interesting things. So it'll be nice to have them here for that. Thank you for all of the comments. I can see you guys have been in here chit-chatting as well earlier. And I want to see this one. Travel Tuesday tip: pack your own lunch bag and nuts and a carry-on for long flights, and don't sit beside sensitive passengers. I'll have you know that today, and it's kind of inspired by Mark kind of taking an in California trip. And you and I have gone to some interesting places, far-flung locales together recently. So we're keeping it in California today. And kind of as a last summer hurrah, we'll take a little trip along the California coast. So that is what we have in store toward the end of the show. And yes, do be sure to pack your own lunch bag and your nuts, and don't sit next to a sensitive passenger. We don't want anyone barfing on anyone. Please do click the thumbs up button, the like button. I see on my screen, my notifications, I just got a $5 PayPal contribution from Wes, who does this every day. And I think once he found out that YouTube takes 30% of the money, he's decided to PayPal me instead. I totally appreciate that. The PayPal link is at the bottom of the show description and in the About tab of the After Party Live here on YouTube. It is a crowdfunded show, so that is definitely appreciated. Huge thank you to Wes for that. Heather, oh hi to you too as well. I'm ready to chill as well. I have some interesting stories for you today. Aloha to you, Karen Cooper. And oh yeah, Eileen talking about the Testarossa meetup, which is on Saturday at the Testarossa Winery in Los Gatos, where kind of a group of Nikki Maduro, Mark Thompson show, after party people are going to get together and meet in person. I really love the idea. Unfortunately, I don't know if I'm able to come, perhaps, but I haven't RSVP'd. My daughter has a band competition in Santa Cruz, so I think I might miss it. But if we get over the hill on Highway 17 in time, there's a chance. So we'll see how it goes. Let's see what else you guys have. Oh, how about doing a special nighttime show on election night, the After Voting Live? That could be a possibility. Yeah, we don't do politics on this show, but I do miss election night coverage. I have to tell you, that was one of my times to shine. So breaking news and election coverage, I really love that. Let's see. Next meetup should be in Petaluma. That's right. There is a North Bay meetup in the works, I think. There were some people talking about doing something like that. So we'll see how it works out. I could have Nikki, Pat, and Gary on as guests. I tend to think that, and I know Pat said she's been working on the radio on weekends mostly, but usually on election night, it's kind of, all hands on deck. So we'll see. I don't know. Whoever is keeping track, I'll be there on Saturday, says Ricky. That's exciting. I love that. I was told yesterday, Ricky, that you have some type of business venture. Is that true? Because if you have posted it and I missed it, then I'd like to highlight it. So please let me know if you have something going on that you want a little publicity for, and I'll see what I can do. Yeah, the meetup at the winery at Testarossa. Absolutely. Very cool. All right, let's get into some of these stories now, kind of scrolling around to see what you guys have to say. Oh, you might have seen the comet. Okay, let's dig into this story because it's called a once in a century comet. And I don't know about you, but my social media feed is like jam packed with pictures of the comet. And they're from all over the Bay Area. They're from every place on Earth. People are seeing this comet. So I thought it'd be a little fun to talk about that and to see some of the photos. This one is taken at the Pinnacles Monument on the Central Coast here in California. And I thought that was such a beautiful picture with the rocky formations, the mountains, the trees, and here comes this comet. This is again being called the comet of the century. And people are loving capturing this. It doesn't have a very sexy name, I'll tell you that. It's Comet A3. It's also known as the Tuxintian Atlas. But it came about 44 million miles within Earth on Saturday night. So a lot of people managed to grab the pictures of this. It was pretty bright. It was pretty visible. There are, again, photos from the UK, the United States, Asia. It's cool. This happens about once every 80,000 years. So this comet would have last been visible from Earth when the Neanderthals were walking the planet. How crazy is that? It's believed that this comet came from the Oort cloud. It sounds like something from Middle Earth, right? Oort, Oort cloud. That's a giant spherical shell that surrounds our solar system and contains billions of objects, including comets. This has been billed the Comet of the Century, discovered independently in January of 2023 by two separate observatories, one in China, one in South Africa. It was previously visible from Earth between the 27th of September and October 2nd when it traveled across the southern hemisphere. If you missed it last night or the night before, it should still be visible until October 30th. And so they say getting a picture of this comet, if you're using a digital single lens reflex camera, whatever that is, should be pretty possible. But here it is from the Pinnacles. Check this out. Isn't that a pretty picture? This is the shot. Let's see where this one came from. This is the shot over, kind of scrolled past all that, near Columbia, South Carolina. That's what it looked like. Here's one that someone posted from Petaluma. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? You can kind of see the comet up in the middle of the screen in the dark part. That's in Petaluma. How crazy is that? Here it is in Greece, at the Temple of Poseidon in Greece. Wow. Incredible. Once in a century comet. And here it is in San Jose. Someone snapped a picture of it in San Ho. Look at that. Back to the Pinnacles. That's a really magical picture. I think the Petaluma one isn't so bad. Yeah. It's so pretty. So did you catch a picture? If you did, you can email it to me. I'd love to have it. You can always reach me. Kim@theafterparty.live is probably the easiest place. Send me your comet pictures. Send me your northern light pictures. Send me all the good stuff. I like it. I thought that was kind of a cool thing. So this comet of the century, they say, again, should be visible until October 30th. And they say if you have a good mobile phone camera and a small telescope, you can hold your phone against the eyepiece of the telescope and try to take a picture that way. That method has worked well in the past with other comets and could work well with this one, but people are getting some great shots of it. Yeah. Okay. I have an animal story for you. Let me take the comet picture down, although I don't really want to. We'll see it again at the end. I have there's a new live cam, a panda cam going on at the San Diego Zoo. The problem with this panda cam is that after a couple seconds, they hit you up for a donation. But here's what it looks like right now. This is the panda cam. And you think, is the panda moving? What's happening? You can kind of see it breathing, a little movement here. Yep, this is the panda cam at the San Diego Zoo. Not much going on in there. Earlier, this panda was moving around a little bit. Then I logged in right before the show, and there was nobody on the platform. Now at least we have a panda back in. The live panda cam, they're hoping they raise some money for the animal upkeep here. And it's kind of exciting to have pandas back in California. People from around the world, they say, can log in and check in on the pandas. This is two giant pandas, Jinbao and Yunchuan. They tumble, they play, they nap. Looks like maybe some napping going on in there. I don't know. They munch on bamboo through the day. The panda cam is up until nightfall, so all day long. Then at some points after dark, they replay all the best moments of the day. You can still see these pandas in person as well at the San Diego Zoo. They call it Panda Ridge is where they live. Pandas, of course, on loan to California from China as an envoy of friendship. These pandas made their debut in August at the San Diego Zoo. They spent a little time getting acclimated there, and now they're on display. They are one of the zoo's most popular attractions. They say they have very distinct personalities, these two. Yunchuan, identified by a slightly pointier nose, mild-mannered, gentle, and lovable. And Jinbao, shy but witty, an introvert with a big round face and big fluffy ears. She likes to climb trees inside the enclosure. And again, both of these pandas were born in China, but here they are. So PandaCam is live. You can see it at sandiegozoo.org. Here, I'll put the link in the chat just in case anyone's interested. You can kind of see her moving there. Here she is. I think she's just enjoying the nap, and I really honestly can't blame her. We have a story about sleep coming up earlier. Anyway, there in the chat is the link to the Panda Cam in case you are interested on checking in on our little panda friends throughout the day. Kind of cute. Okay, I'll take her away. Some other animal stories that I have for you today, though, include frogs. There are 12 new species of frog, and they've all been named after Star Trek characters, proving again that most researchers and scientists are Star Trek nerds. 7 new frog species named for Star Trek-esque calls. We have the bee Kirky, the bee Picardy, the bee Siskoi, the bee Janeway, the bee Archery, the bee Pikai, and the bee Burnhami living in Madagascar's rainforests. These 7 new species of tree frogs, again found in Madagascar, they make strange high-pitched whistling sounds that sound a little like the sound effects from Star Trek. The new species named after 7 of the sci-fi series captains. They say to boldly go where no frog or scientist has gone before. You're looking here at Captain Janeway. Yeah, this is Bee Janeway. Bee Janeway. That's the name of the frog. Kind of nerdy. Cute little frog, though. Here's the Picard, Captain Picard frog. Got a little red eyeball going on there. All right, I think I'm going to have to play you the sound of these frogs, which means I have to take away my panda. Oh, no. That's all right. To bring to you the sound of one of these new Star Trek frogs. Are you ready to hear it? Okay, here's what it sounds like. It's coming. I can't hear it. I don't know. Oh, maybe it's because I don't have it up. Hold on. All right, here it is. Here is the sound of the Star Trek frog. Allegedly. No? I'm not hearing it. Well, that's a dud. That's supposed to be what it sounds like. We'll take their word for it that it sounds like a Star Trek phaser or some type of Star Trek call. But they found 7 new ones. They're always finding these new species. Kind of cool. This is an antiquated story. I think it's Finland, they have this contest. It's used to be called the wife carrying contest. Kind of makes you think of those days when, cavemen days, and you grab a woman by her hair and drag her into the cave, right? That type of thing. Mud, beer, and cash. This is the annual wife carrying championship. It's based, they think, on this 19th century Finnish legend involving a man whose gang was known to pillage villages and carry away the women. So that's what all of this is based on. And now in Maine, they have this wife carrying contest. It's not politically correct. You could say that, right? So for a long time, it had to be a man carrying a woman. It couldn't be a man carrying a man or a woman carrying a woman. And you had to be a couple. No, not anymore. Finally, in 2024, the quote, wife carrying contest has been changed a little bit, a little bit of progress, just a little bit. They still say it's the winning wife, even if it's, not necessarily the married couple. But for the first year, the couples don't have to be married, and they don't have to be a man and a woman. They could be any type of couple. These folks pictured here are having a little bit of trouble. I think this is the winning entry. Someone dressed up as Mr. Incredible. So there you go. The contest is based on, you're supposed to carry your person like a sack of potatoes. It's based on this legend from Finland involving a man known as Ronkainen the Robber. Again, they were known for pillaging villages and carrying away women, and it traditionally featured male competitors carrying a woman. The whole contest changed up this year to reflect, the nature of our modern society. The contestant dressed as Mr. Incredible, the wife dressed entirely in pink, looks like they were the winners. The course is about 254 meters, happened at the River Ski Resort on Sunday. Most of the people used the technique where the quote wife, is carried like a backpack upside down to ensure that the runner's arms are free for the greatest agility. The champion of this contest leaves with the weight of the wife in beer and 5 times the wife's weight in cash. That's not so bad. To estimate the amount they win, the winning wife is put on one side of a seesaw like a scale that organizers balanced out on the other side with cases of beer. Oh, Maine, you're awesome. They say it's just a lot of fun to do this. So, here's some video. Let's watch a little video of this as well. Because it does look like they have a little fun, even if the nature of the contest is a bit antiquated. It does look kind of silly.
Go!
Here they go.
Sorry, we've got a hot start.
It doesn't, I love how she's got a helmet on. And they take it pretty seriously. Off they go. Yeah, I think these were the winners right here. Yeah.
We come each year for the fun. There's really a low chance of us winning, and we do have fun every single year. It's a relatively short course. We hop over the hurdle or climb over the hurdle that we're leaning on right now, around a short track, through a pool of water, over a large mound of dirt obstacle, and then across the finish line. And pretty much everybody cheers everybody else on, and it's a blast.
We want to roll around in it, so it kind of makes sense.
It doesn't look easy.
I was going their goal the whole time. Like, it's just 20 coming through, beat and going for the 6.
Anyway, that's the wife carrying contest. This is how they have fun in Maine. Let's go to a different story now, because I have to tell you about, and I should have put this in Mark's show, but I'm telling you, when police see a bag that says definitely not a bag full of drugs, what do you think they're thinking? Gotta look inside that. This is a bag of drugs labeled definitely not a bag of drugs. It was found in Portland, Oregon, when officers stopped a driver and passenger inside a car that was allegedly stolen. All right. So they stopped this driver in this allegedly stolen car, and they do a little searchy search, and they found this small brown makeup bag with the words "definitely not a bag full of drugs" written on the front. You can see it pictured here. Despite the message on the bag, no, 10 grams of fentanyl and meth reportedly found in the not a bag full of drugs. They arrested the man and the woman in the vehicle. They're reportedly facing charges of drug possession and possession of a stolen vehicle. You can see also in the photo found there was money, there was a gun, there's other items, drug paraphernalia items like things to weigh drugs, this type of thing. Lots of little baggies of drugs. Definitely not a bag full of drugs. Ha. They thought they were being so funny, right? No. There is a show, a play, that is so disturbing and so gross that it is sending people to the hospital. No joke. This is a graphic opera called Sancta. So far, 18 people have needed medical attention. 3 of them required an ambulance during the middle of this opera. Ugh. They say it's boundary pushing, and I'm not going to show most of the pictures of the show that they have listed in the story, but I can tell you that the show is called Florentina Holsinger's Sancta. Among the things included in this performance: nuns, you can see pictured here, sex scenes, mutilation, real blood. They have naked roller skating nuns. That doesn't sound so bad. And then they have a depiction of a wall of crucified naked bodies. Okay, don't need to see that. People apparently are so affected by what they're seeing on stage, they're suffering from nausea. Yeah, they're feeling pukey because of this show that really pushes the boundaries. The show happened October 5th and 6th in Stuttgart, Germany. And when it was in progress, about 18 people needed medical help. The other people that were in the audience seemed to enjoy the show and applauded when it was done. The spokesperson for Sancta says, "We highly value the well-being of our audience, which is why our staff is excellently prepared for these kinds of incidents, which happen during other performances too, even though in smaller numbers. By all means, we informed our audience about sensitive content before the performances, but the great applause afterward indicates the vast majority of people knew what the performance was about." It's a 3-hour show. Apparently 2 scenes lasting just a few minutes might be pretty hard to watch. One scene described as having a small piece of flesh cut from one of the backs of the performers, another where 2 performers were pierced together to attach ropes to lift them up. I guess whatever hocus pocus they're doing on stage looks real enough to cause people to feel like they're going to barf or like they're sick. So they highlighted certain light effects throughout, which could have been responsible for some incidents as well, like flashing lights type of thing. Holsinger is known for boundary pushing. So you kind of know when you're going into something like this that you're going to see some things that might be disturbing. The cast she has are always all female. They're either partly or fully nude. There's tattooing, there's sex acts, there's paintings with blood, there's fresh excrement. Like, it just ew. Like, why? I don't even know why you would want to go see this. Again, and we've talked about this before with art being, in the eye of the beholder. That to me is not art. That's just gross. I don't know. The Sancta show is based on a 1920s opera, which was really controversial at the time, called Sancta Susanna, which is a story of a nun who represses her own desires. The show is for people 18 and over, and despite the fact that 18 people needed medical help, the future performances of this are sold out. They're in Stuttgart and Berlin, and they're all sold out. So they say the media is blowing this out of proportion, not contextualizing the work, that it deals with real and complex issues. They're now having to deal with threats of violence and hate speech. And they say, listen, if you don't want to see it, then don't come. Great advice. Great advice. To something a little happier now. We're lifting up the party. Look at Half Moon Bay. Time for pumpkins again. We're going to go back into the holiday spirit. This gargantuan pumpkin, they say, could flavor 74,794 pumpkin spice lattes. Is a 4-time champion. The annual pumpkin weighing contest in Half Moon Bay, Safeway World Championship way off, was Rudy. Clocked in at 2,471 pounds. That's twice as heavy as a grizzly bear, half as heavy as a rhino, 2/3 as heavy as a car. The winner, Travis Geinger, gets a prize money of $9 per pound. So that's pretty good. Also gets a pumpkin grower champion ring. That's bragging rights right there. A champion jacket and a 2-night stay at the Ritz-Carlton in Half Moon Bay. That's hoity-toity. Nice. This horticulture teacher from Minnesota's record-breaking 2023 entry weighed 2,749 pounds. And again, this year's was 2,471, so not the biggest. But the winning one from last year was entered into the Guinness Book of World Records, also shared by the same man, Travis Geinger. He shares the world record for the largest jack-o'-lantern as well by circumference. That was contest that he won in 2022. Carved this pumpkin to look like an eagle, had a circumference of 242 inches. He said, I didn't think I'd have anything come June. If you'd talked to me in June, I would have been like, nah, our weather's way too wet, way too cold. But no. They've been doing this Half Moon Bay pumpkin carving contest for a really long time. Most of the record-breaking pumpkins are the breed Dill's Atlantic Giants, which have been bred to produce really large offspring. So, can you imagine carving one of these? I think you get a lot of gross stuff inside there. These pumpkins are, they say, healthy to eat. They're chock full of nutrients to support the immune system. They're good for your heart. And they're versatile enough to fit into a lot of different dishes. Oh. Usually they just lift it with a crane back onto the flatbed and tow it away. And there it goes. Half Moon Bay pumpkin way off. There's a story about sleep that I wanted to make sure we got to. And this is a story that indicates that if you don't get a good sleep one night, it can affect you even the next week. That a bad night's sleep tonight could still be impacting your thoughts next week. But the way the study was done is interesting because the scientist based all of her research on herself. So it's kind of a self-study, which I thought was kind of interesting. Her name is Anna Maria Triana. She's from Aalto University in Finland, and she studied herself for 5 months. She did this wearable technology and used smartphone data to track her activities and her physiological markers. She underwent about 30 functional magnetic resonance imaging (MRI) scans to assess her cognitive functions like attention and memory. She said our behavior and mental states are constantly shaped by our environment and experiences, but we know very little about the response of brain functional connectivity to environmental, physiological, and behavioral challenges on different timescales from days to months. She said this study going on for so long is kind of what makes it unusual because it's rare to be able to capture so much monitoring data over a continuous period. She also said her role as a participant and a researcher gave her a unique insight into how best to conduct these types of studies. See, I would think that it would be more beneficial to a study to remove the researcher from the experience. But one could argue that there are nuances of the experience that researchers wouldn't know to ask about. So perhaps this is a good thing. I don't know. The picture that emerged from her data indicates the brain's responses to daily activities are not isolated and immediate. She saw 2 distinct patterns: a short-term response that lasted about a week, and a long-term wave of more gradual effects. She said, we find traces of past behavior and physiology and brain connectivity that extends as far as 15 days. One night of disturbed sleep can make focusing on work the next day a tricky task, but it might also continue to negatively impact your memory and cognition a whole week later. Conversely, she said, a workout might give you an instant buzz, but according to these results, you could also still be experiencing the positive effects for up to 2 weeks. The research identified a strong link between heart rate variability and brain connectivity, the way in which different regions of the brain interact with each other to perform complicated functions, especially during periods of rest. And physical activity was also identified as a strong influence on brain connectivity. Linking the brain activity with the physiological and environmental data, they hope could revolutionize personalized healthcare, opening some doors for earlier interventions and better outcome. Now, for us, at least we know this. According to her self-study, missing 1 night of sleep didn't just make you exhausted the next day, it impacts you the following week as well. So getting yourself on a schedule and staying there, probably the best thing to do. We're getting late. Before we switch over to our Travel Tuesday segment, let me tell you about this robot. This kind humanoid robot. How cool is he? I mean, unless he's coming after you. This is a design from the studio called Fuse Project. This robot is supposed to be friendly looking. They've designed a body for this robotic system by Tech Studio, Kind Humanoid, intended for various domestic and commercial environments. Again, the robot is called Kind Humanoid. This robotic system, the latest contender in the race to bring mechanical systems up to par with the sophisticated artificial intelligence systems behind them. The robot, if successful, will perform a large number of tasks based on training via the large data sets that trigger commands in its robotic systems. So it could function in unstructured environments like households, facilities. But here's how it looks. And they say AI has accelerated the speed at which we can build a robot that responds to multiple types of situations. If you build a generalized robot like this, the thought is it'll be better for all of these different types of tasks rather than building a specialized factory robot. So there's the big picture. Here it is up close. Kind of has a friendly, dreamy face. Can looks be deceiving? I don't know. Looks pretty strong. It's a cool futuristic design. I'll give it that. I don't know. The robot in this picture could act on subtle statements such as, "I'm thirsty," and it pours you a glass of water. That's it. The folks making Kind Humanoid are currently building this robot in a garage in Palo Alto. They're trying to create an industrial design language that brings friendliness and levity because they say some of these robots look intimidating. So they wanted to bring you a robot that didn't look so intimidating. And looking at the advances in how quickly these robots are learning AI, they said they saw an opportunity for a robot that would be in our everyday setting to build a model a bit softer in terms of its expression. And I like the way they drew little eyes, kind of has clouds in its thinking. A robot that has a sort of sense of personality and levity in the sense that it doesn't jolt our senses. A robot that gives a sense of approachability and familiarity, and maybe even a sense of humor. So they made it this soft bronze color. They rounded all the edges, especially the head. They say that the robot's eyes, where the eyes would be, are backed by a cloud sky, informed by the paintings of Belgian artist René Magritte. It's an attempt to give it personality and a form that isn't human, but that is friendly and, in a sense, at our service. The design of Kind Humanoid is set to go into production in between a year and a year and a half's time. They think it's going to be capital efficient, so I don't know. This group, Fuse Project, has been successful at other robot projects before. They did the industrial design for a tech company which had this robot called Moxie, designed as a child's companion, which hasn't taken off yet. In 2017, they designed a non-threatening security robot, which is kind of comparable to the ones that they used in the New York subway system for a while. So now we have Kind Humanoid. I don't know. Is it friendly enough for you to want it in your house? Could fold your laundry, do your vacuuming, reorganize your closet maybe? I don't know. Get you a glass of water when you're thirsty? Whip up some spaghetti perhaps? Kind Humanoid. There it is. I haven't seen it walking yet. It has kind of clunky looking feet. I don't know. All right. Are we ready for Travel Tuesday? Woohoo! Let's go. Let's do it. Today, our first stop along the California coast will be Morro Bay. Pretty nice. Yep. It's a charming small coastal town, population 11,000. I thought it was more than that, but that's what they say. The bay protected by a harbor and marine sanctuary, so a lot of opportunities to spot wildlife. What you're seeing here is Morro Rock, which is a volcanic mound at the end of Morro Beach, which, I mean, it's so hard to miss. It's so beautiful sticking up out of the water there. So depending on when you go to Morro Bay, there are whale watching expeditions, humpback, gray whales, blue whales, orcas, dolphins. They have the historic Embarcadero. You might see sea otters, sea lions playing in the waves. They have kayak rentals, all kinds of cute little stores around here as well. Restaurants too. Good clam chowder in Morro Bay. Morro Bay State Park, great place to do some bird watching with brackish water marshes in this area. They have windsurfing. You can go on the Strand, Morro Strand State Beach. They also have, if you're an RV person, the Strand is a great place to camp with your RV. They say Morro Bay is the perfect place to start your tour of beach towns in California. Couple of places they say are good to stay: Anderson Inn or Embarcadero Inn and Suites. Next place, I have never been here. It's called Cayucos. Have you guys been to Cayucos? I haven't. I think I might need to go, though. Cayucos, big on surfing. Kind of a mellow little beach town in California, 9 minutes north of Morro Bay. Kind of a small town, 2,600 people. Big personality in this place. They say it's like stepping back in time. There's a 950-foot long wooden pier lined by fishermen vying the daily catch. Excellent place to get your surf on, take a surfing lesson. They have a lot of surf shops here. You can rent stuff. They say Cayucos is Americana at its finest. A lot of antique shops here as well. And in May and October, they have some antique fairs. So if you plan your trip and you like to go antiquing or walk around and look at interesting things, as we talked about before, it's a great time to do it. And this is the month. One unique thing about Cayucos, they have these large murals on the walls all over town. And since the town is only 5 square miles, it's, they say, kind of a cool place to go and check out all of the murals here as well. The next one, also kind of not so far away, is going to be Hearst Castle at San Simeon. God, it's been forever since I've been here. So maybe it's time to put it back on the list, right? Yeah, I mean, why not? You're on the coast, might as well go check it out. Here's a picture of Hearst Castle at San Simeon. There you go. This is a really interesting place with so much history. San Simeon, home to, of course, the Hearst Castle, where newspaper tycoon William Randolph Hearst created this castle. Took him 3 decades to build it. And when he left in 1947, it still wasn't finished. 123 acres of gardens, 165 rooms. It's really easy to spend a whole day looking around at this place. There are Egyptian sculptures in the courtyards, Art Deco ceilings in the bedrooms. They have 16th century tapestries hanging on the wall here. And of course, the showstopper, indoor pool decorated with hand-cut Murano tiles from Italy. They think it might be one of the most over-the-top things to see on the Pacific Coast Highway. You do need to reserve your tickets in advance. Something else to see in this area is the Elephant Seal Rookery. And I don't know if you've ever been to one of these places where you see the elephant seals and you don't touch them. You're just an observer. I mean, not that you would ever touch an elephant seal, but it's very, you stay back on your own path, right? You're not to touch. If you see one that's hurt or injured, you don't ever touch it. You let nature take its course. The rangers are there. If there's a little baby elephant seal, they say no touching. You can't do it. You're just looking on. You can see people above here just looking down below and checking it all out. So this is another stop along the Pacific coast. It's the Piedras Blancas Elephant Seal Rookery, and it's 7 miles north of San Simeon. Of course, there are several of these. There's one on the peninsula here in the Bay Area as well. The elephant seals mostly sun themselves on the beach. From January to March, they have little baby blubber lumps as well. This is the only elephant seal rookery in the world that's free and easily accessible to the public. I went to the one here on the peninsula, and it was a very long hike through the sand dunes. So this one, it looks like you can park and just look down from up above. It's an 8-mile long stretch of coastline. The colony of elephant seals here has grown to about 25,000. These, again, are not tame animals. The males, adult males, can grow as big as 16 feet and weigh 5,000 pounds. So you do not want to mess with these creatures. You don't want to feed them. You don't want to be a Turon and try to snap a selfie with one. And not only because you could get hurt and disturb them, but you can also find yourself in a legal predicament. These creatures have teeth, these big incisors that crush bones. So really, honestly, take the pictures from a distance up there. The next stop on our trip is going to be the incredible Monterey. It's the place that's kind of close to me in the Bay Area, so we'll go down there. And I have kids, so we go to the aquarium, and I love it. And the smell of the coastal air and the cute little shops and the fun things to do with the kids. It's a good place. I say Monterey, yes to Monterey. If you haven't been there in a while, might be worth stopping through. Here's a picture of the boats in Monterey. Beautiful. The Monterey Bay Area has endless attractions, very cool places to stay, whether you're on a budget or whether you're looking for something a little fancier. It's about 95 miles north up the coast from San Simeon, so it's on your travel if you're going to go up the coast. The Big Sur Highway along the way, something else to see as well. Bixby Creek Bridge, one of the most photographed bridges in the world. I would say definitely check ahead, because there are times when the roadway has been washed out, bad things are happening, and you just never know with the Highway 1 through Big Sur how your travels are going to be. So you really need to be mindful of what's going on with the roadways in this area. Next on the list is going to be, we have the Monterey Bay Aquarium in this area, Cannery Row, Old Fisherman's Wharf is really beautiful. Whale watching. The last couple of times we've gone, I've tried to convince my family to go on a whale watching boat. No one will go with me. No one. So I haven't gone, but I really wanted to. Nope. I don't know why. You would think kids would love that. And they're like, no, we don't want to go on a boat. Okay, whatever. If you've done 17-mile drive and you've seen this lone cypress, it's kind of an iconic image from this whole area. This lone cypress on this little cliff rock overlooking the ocean. I have a picture of that from when I was a little kid. It's this tree standing atop a granite outcropping in Pebble Beach. Can take this 17-mile drive tour now on electric bicycle, which I have not done before. They do small group tours on electric bikes. Stop by the Lone Cypress for some pictures. It is a private road, so there is a fee to enter this area, whether you're on an electric bike or whether you're in a car. But if you've never done 17-mile drive and seen the amazing houses and everything there is to see with the beautiful ocean and the cliffs and the views around every corner, it's definitely worth seeing. And Monterey is not too far away from Santa Cruz, which is where I will likely be this weekend because my daughter has a band competition in front of the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. Gosh, she was so nervous, you guys. This is her first year as the drum major, which means she is leading the band. And she kind of had this breakdown last night because if she doesn't she gets off on the wrong footing, the whole group is off on the wrong footing, and the competition is shot. So she's pretty nervous about it. What if she drops her, they call it a mace, this thing that she twirls around? What if she drops that? What if this? What if that? I said, you know what? You can only do the best you can do. Honestly, you can't talk about what ifs. You just have to say, I've practiced. I'm ready. If a mistake happens, a mistake happens. I can only do what I can do at this point. Man, she's stressed out over it. But here's Santa Cruz. If you haven't been to Santa Cruz in a while, I would say this. Don't leave anything in your car that you like. There's a lot of crime in Santa Cruz right now. There's also a lot of beauty and a lot of wonderful things to see. It's kind of an old school beach towny vibe in Santa Cruz. There's a lot of breweries here. There's a university crowd here. A lot of beach bums as well. There's some giant redwood forests near this area. And of course, the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. And the Capitola area as well. This is a fun place to go look. Shops, roller coasters, arcades, restaurant, mini golf, laser tag, a bowling alley, all kinds of fun. Also, the beautiful scenery and the natural rock arch at Natural Bridges State Park, which is so, so pretty. So if you're in the Santa Cruz area and you've never been to Natural Bridges, I would say that's definitely something to check out. Between mid-October to mid-February, thousands of monarch butterflies overwintering in the park's eucalyptus trees. So it's really a sight to behold. Really a sight to behold. I have a picture for you if you haven't seen it. Hold on. Of Natural Bridges. It's just so pretty. I think it's worth it. Here it is. Here's the picture. I mean, come on. Right? It's beautiful. The next stop on our tour is going to be Half Moon Bay, where we just had the Half Moon Bay pumpkin contest. But it's so pretty. And again, not too far from Santa Cruz, just a little bit up the coast. And this is where we'll stop on our tour for today. I was going to take you all the way up to Mendocino, but I see we're running a little slow on time. So we'll stop at the incredible Half Moon Bay. I love the little stores and the little restaurants here. Just so beautiful. Such a beautiful place. Cliffs overlooking the ocean. Beautiful beaches. Just so pretty. Check out that beach. Yeah. That's our Half Moon Bay right here in the Bay Area. They say it's a must stop on your Northern California coastal towns. Of course, you got to be careful. There's the waves out at Mavericks. They can reach up to 60 feet. They're legendary given the weather conditions there, but you have to be really careful on the coast. Last few years, Mavericks has been canceled because the waves weren't big enough for big wave surfers. That doesn't mean, though, that it's safe for everyone to get out there and try. No. There's the Fitzgerald Marine Reserve. There's tide pooling. So fun. Make sure it's low tide. Go out and check it out. 9 state parks in this area. The natural Half Moon Bay Coastal Trail that you can walk or run on and will give you ocean views galore. If you go in the spring, wildflowers are amazing in Half Moon Bay. And the town itself is super cute. Seafood restaurants overlooking the ocean. Sam's Chowder House. I don't know if you've been there. They have lobster rolls. And a lot of people won't be able to afford this. We need to win the pumpkin contest, but the Ritz-Carlton Half Moon Bay is there if you're going to splurge. The Beach House Hotel is there. The Nantucket Whale Inn is there. Just super, super, super beautiful. And thus ends our kind of, I'll call it Central Coast tour of California. Kind of stayed a little closer to home this time. Janet R. says, if you go to Half Moon Bay this weekend for the Pumpkin Festival, go early and expect so much traffic on Highways 92 and Highway 1. That is very, very true. You kind of just have to know you're going to be sitting in traffic for a long time unless you decide you're going to stay there, right? Mindy says it's a great way to get into the spirit with pumpkins everywhere. Wes says early mornings before it's crowded gives you a nostalgic feeling like you would get at a place like Coney Island. So beautiful. Yeah, Sam's Chowder House does rock. Absolutely. I'm glad you had fun. I'm sorry we couldn't go all the way up the coast. Teacher Lori says Fitzgerald Marine Preserve has a species only there because it's where the Monterey Bay and San Francisco Bay overlap. Get tons of good tide pool pictures there. Really cool. Nullifidian says, I like pumpkin chunkin'. Nice. Heather's like, oh my God. It'll take you 100%, take you 3 hours to go the 6 miles to Highway 92. So be ready. It's totally true. It's super, super trafficy. But that festival is really fun as well. Mindy says, go in November. Great weather then. No traffic. Much better. Yeah. When was your birthday? Did I miss it? Oh, when you stole a robe from the Half Moon Bay Ritz. Shh, we won't tell anybody that. No. Wes says, I like to go at 5 a.m. and get a nice long breakfast somewhere. That sounds really good. I missed that. When I lived in San Francisco, I used to go to the Half Moon Bay Pumpkin Festival all the time. Really, really fun. We need a whale watching meetup. Thank you. Do I have people that'll go whale watching with me? Because you're my people. Let's do that. My family's ditching me, but you guys, you're always there for me. Huge thank you to Wes coming through with a $5 super sticker for today. Thank you guys for helping celebrate the 2-year anniversary of the Mark Thompson Show as well. It looks like Mark might be sticking around in Southern California for one more day before he heads up to San Francisco. So we'll have another normal Mark Thompson Show tomorrow at 11 a.m. We'll talk to John Rothman on the Mark Thompson Show. That'll be good. Belinda Weymouth will be on the Mark Thompson Show as well. And then here on the After Party Live, it's Waterfall Wednesday. So we'll look at some beautiful waterfalls and spend some more time together. Thanks you guys for being here. I will see you tomorrow, but make it the very best Tuesday that you can. And I know we don't talk politics very often, if at all. But I will say one of the things that if you haven't seen yet, I hope you will see, is the video from the Kamala Harris rally in Erie, Pennsylvania yesterday, where she stops her speech to roll tape of Trump. And it's unexpected, and what she says in the moments before and after it are really worth watching. So check it out. I know we've got a lot of politics on hand, but I think that's actually something worth seeing. All right, everybody, have a really great day, and I'll see you back here on YouTube tomorrow. Bye-bye.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.
Yeah.